Demetrius Johnson reflected on the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan rematch.
Peter, congratulations. I still want to come fight you. 2026, it's me and you, baby.
This is huge for Yan. Huge. Yan has been done dirty so many times in the UFC. This was epic. True. No! Yes! 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 Go on, Piotr. Just go.
I'm in the hospital with my brother Aljamain Sterling, and then my brother drinking his Funk Harbor rum. And I'm on the phone with my mother. Dedico. Quick, Amar Jobak, English Surat.
Holy smokes, there is a brand new UFC bantamweight champion. His name is Petr Yan. If you would have told me in March of 2023, after Merab Dvalishvili absolutely steamrolled, dominated, I mean, it was not even close. It was one-way traffic throughout. Remember that fight in Las Vegas, a fight night before Merab became champion? If you would have told me on that night that some 2.5 years later, they'd rematch and Petr Yan would fight Merab Dvalishvili the way in which he fought him tonight, and we'll get into it, but just to let you know what it was, in my opinion, it was 50-45 for Petr Yan. Now, the judges didn't necessarily agree. There were two 49-46s, one 48-47, which is absurd. I thought at worst it was a 49-46. It was a very fun, entertaining fight, but this was vintage Petr Yan. This was the Petr Yan who was wrecking fools in his first run as UFC bantamweight champion. And imagine 4.5 years ago, he makes the critical mistake. He hits Aljamain Sterling with the illegal knee. 3.5 years ago, he loses to Aljo in the rematch via submission. 2.5 years ago, he loses to Merab. Now here he is, once again, the man in the bantamweight division.
Dude, that's crazy. This fight's legit over. Yan's clearly up. Yan still looks fresh too. Oblique kick, and he's looking for that body shot again. He's looking for that body shot. He might go upstairs with a head kick. Merab needs a finish in this 5th round. It is over, boys. Oh, Yan almost eats a big shot. Good head kick from Yan. Yan shoots a takedown now. Don't get guillotine late. Takes down Merab emphatically. Holy shit, how good is Yan? This could be 50-45. There's no way Merab thinks he won. He's like celebrating and talking. Dude, Merab's embarrassing himself talking to the crowd. What a fucking performance. How good is... They're not giving Merab a rematch. They're not giving Merab a rematch. It's going to be Umar Yan or O'Malley Yan. Yan whooped him like a dog, man. I don't know if... I hate to say it. I don't know if Merab deserves the rematch. He got whooped.
One of the toughest fighters that I've ever come across. And let's just say, Merab and I didn't get off on the right foot early on. I have nothing but respect for him and everything that he's accomplished. And yeah, and for Petr to come in and do what he did tonight. And I mean, the body shots and the head shots and the wrestling. I mean, it was an incredibly high level fight that was, you know, what a hell of a way to end the ESPN era.
my gosh! Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming, bro. Nobody. This fight was so overlooked. Petr Yan just shocked the world. I mean, Petr Yan just shocked the world. And the odds makers must have known. He's getting picked up and run around the octagon by his coach. Unbelievable. He's going to move to 20-5, and he takes down Merab, who seemed unstoppable. Was on the verge of becoming fighter of the year. Now who gets it? Oh my gosh, Petr Yan is the new bantamweight champ. Fight of his life here at UFC 323.
Noting the tension between the fighters, he said Merab's quick turnaround made him unsure how to feel, as it lessened some of his mystique. Johnson compared Merab to Ilia Topuria, explaining that constant activity reduces the suspense fans feel. He added that quick turnarounds also limit a fighter's time to develop new skills or add new tools.
Now this is a rematch. They don't like each other, so we got a little bad blood in there already. It's a quick turnaround for Merab. Where I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's good. I think it takes away the essence of Merab and like the mystique of him. You know, you look at Ilia Topuria, we're all waiting at the edge of our seat, waiting to see who's gonna fight next. And I can't wait to see him get in there and see how, you know, pop, 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 pop. We're waiting on the edge to see that mystical unicorn get back in there, but we're getting like Merab's just giving it to us. So sometimes I feel when you get too much of something, you know what to expect, and it's not the same anticipation. You know what I mean? It doesn't give the athlete more time to work on new craftsmen and new tools.
Demetrius Johnson picked Merab Dvalishvili in the rematch, trusting his ability to control every moment. He noted that Merab understood the game inside and out, and that confidence showed in the cage. Since Merab already had a win over Petr Yan, Johnson expected him to repeat the result, placing him among the top fighters in the world alongside Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria.
Who do I have winning this fight between Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan? I'm going to go with Merab Dvalishvili, the machine. Now, I know when I said the keys to victory, I gave you only one. It's because Merab knows what he's doing. Like, he says it. He told me off camera and on camera. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to fight. He knows how to navigate a fight. And so that's the only thing he needs to do is navigate that fight. He's already fought Petr Yan. He's already beat him. With everything said, I would say he's probably the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world next to Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria.
Michael Bisping analyzed what Petr Yan needed to do to succeed in his rematch against Merab Dvalishvili. He emphasized that Yan had to start fast and avoid falling behind early, particularly in a 5-round fight. Bisping pointed out that Yan often took time to find his rhythm, which worked in 3-round bouts. But against Merab, letting him gain an early mental edge could be costly.
He's got to get off to a fast start. He can't afford to go 1 round down. Yeah, it's a 5-round fight, and Yan certainly has a 5-round style, so that will help him in this matchup. But often, even in those 3 fights that he did win, he finds his groove in fights. He takes his time. He's not exactly fast out of the gate. You might call that a championship style because he's used to doing 5 rounds. In the 3-round fights that he had, he was able to get away with it. And yeah, this is a 5-round, but even still, you don't want to give Merab that mental advantage, because we saw against Corey Sandhagen, we saw against Sean O'Malley. As soon as he feels that he's in control, then he just starts to run away with it and starts quite literally making fun of his opponents and kissing them and waving at Dana and talking and all kinds of stuff. You don't want to let Merab, who is flying high with confidence, stacking up title defenses like crazy, you don't want to let him get an early mental advantage.
Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman reflected on the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan fight. Cejudo said that Yan's knockout would go down as one of the most impressive turnarounds in recent MMA, while Usman reminded him that Yan had remained a serious contender. Cejudo added that although Yan had been controlled in their previous encounter, his win over Merab firmly put him back into title contention.
If somehow Petr Yan is able to knock him out, like, this could go down as one of the greatest comebacks of all time.
No, relax. Come on. Let's not act like Petr Yan wasn't the champion before. He was.
Yeah, but...
And he's still been on the tear.
I 100% agree with you. But, dude, he got 50-45 controlled, bro. Like you got to look at the stats. If he is able to get a victory over Merab Dvalishvili, bantamweight division is a little tricky, dude, but that could put him up there as one of the greats in that weight division. division.
Jan Blachowicz described his fondness for Georgia, where he's visited, and noted that they will be competing in the same event. Blachowicz also complimented Merab's fighting approach, saying he enjoys his style inside the cage.
Merab is my friend. I was in Georgia. I love his country. We're gonna fight together on the same card. So yes, Merab. He is crazy, funny man. I like him. I like his style for sure.
Sean O'Malley analyzed the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan rematch, noting Yan's speed, precise counters, and willingness to trade made him dangerous. He believed Merab kept the upper hand by staying composed and avoiding overconfidence, crediting Merab's fight IQ for managing Yan's attacks effectively.
Who do you think wins, Merab or Yan?
I mean, the only way I see Yan beating him is Merab's getting confident in his hands. He damn near knocked out Corey Sandhagen, but he's punching more. He did it with Umar too, where he was kind of throwing some more combos, and he did it with Corey. Peter's someone you got to be careful with, like keeping your chin up, because he'll capitalize. He's got such good counters. He's fast. He'll sit in the pocket. He'll trade. But Merab's just, I think his fight IQ is smarter than his regular IQ. And he's got a good fight IQ. So I think he's going to go up. I don't think he's going to necessarily sit and try to trade with him, but you never know.
So ultimately you're leaning towards Merab unless he kind of falls in love with the striking and gets caught.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking.
Max Holloway praised Merab Dvalishvili's cardio, relentlessness, and constant forward pressure, calling it extremely frustrating for opponents. He explained that Merab kept coming back after failed takedown attempts and continued striking, making it hard for defensive fighters to respond without risking another takedown. Holloway said Merab had mastered this skill, making him tough to bet against, and predicted a win, hoping he would make history as the first champion to defend his belt 4 times in a single year.
With Merab's, cardio and tenacity and just him, that forward pressure, bro, it's just so annoying, man. I guarantee it's so annoying of someone shooting so much time. And he's not just shooting, bro. Like, what you guys don't see, like, he's coming off of the shots, off the failed shots, and punching. Like, you guys, like, for defensive guys, yeah, we want to punch and make them pay back too, but we're still thinking of like, oh man, he might shoot again. So you don't want to be like, okay, I'm gonna strike here, boom, boom, he's back on your legs. It's irritating to do, but it's something that Merab has mastered, and it's hard to bet against him. I hope he goes out there. I'm going with Merab on this one. I hope he goes out there. I hope he does history. I hope he makes history, being the first champion. I believe he's going to be the first champion to defend his belt in a year, a calendar year. 4 times, which is ridiculous.
Former UFC champion Jamahal Hill expressed excitement for the fight and picked Merab Dvalishvili, calling him one of his favorite people. Hill believed Merab operated on a different level compared to most champions, with perhaps the largest gap between him and his competition, noting that only Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria were in a similar tier. He also expressed admiration for Georgian fighters and said he wanted to visit Georgia to meet them in person.
I'm biased. I'm always biased against Merab. I love Merab, bro. He's one of my favorite people in the world. I'm going on Merab, bro. Merab is just operating on a different level right now. The one out of everybody, out of all the champions right now that are just operating at a different level above their weight classes, I'd have to say Merab has probably got the biggest gap between him and his competition. I don't know. I'd say it's a tie between him, Pantoja, and Topuria. When Georgian boys came up and got on, boy. I like Georgia. I need to go there. I'm gonna take a trip out there. I'm gonna pull up the guys.
However, Tim Welch warned Merab not to underestimate Petr Yan, noting that many were counting him out ahead of the rematch. He explained that Yan had been limited by a hand injury in their first fight, which affected his power. Welch added that Merab Dvalishvili's aggressive style left him exposed when swinging for knockouts, as seen in a flurry against Corey Sandhagen, and that Yan's boxing precision with the small gloves gave him a genuine chance to exploit those openings.
I tell you what, a lot of people are counting out Petr Yan, and I feel like they're making a mistake. This guy, supposedly, he had a broke hand in their first match, and when you watch them fight, it kind of does look like he has a broke hand. He's not winging it with full power. Now, Merab is hungry for a knockout. He's hungry for a knockout. He's hungry for a TKO. And that is where I think Petr Yan has the opportunity to crack Merab when Merab is swinging. You saw it against Corey Sandhagen when he really started to flurry against Corey Sandhagen. That chin is floating. That chin is floating, and Petr Yan is a master of boxing with little 4-ounce gloves. Anything can happen.
Similarly, MMA guru questioned Merab Dvalishvili being such a heavy favorite over Petr Yan, calling the odds insane. He noted that while Merab had pressured Yan with over 50 takedowns in their first fight, he had added more striking since, making the rematch more competitive. He added that Merab remained extremely tough and physical, but Yan had done a great job defending most of his takedowns, only outdone by someone like Jose Aldo.
Do I think Merab should be the favorite that he is? No, I don't think Merab should be a minus 400 and something against Petr Yan. I don't think anyone should be that big of a favorite over Petr Yan. I don't think Volk should be that big of a favorite. Like, this is insane odds, because if you watch back the first fight, yes, Merab put a pace on him and shot 50 odd takedowns, but he hasn't done that since, you know? He's done a bit more of the striking, and I think that's going to make this a lot more competitive. But Merab's such a tank, and he's so physical. And he just goes for so many takedowns. And Yan actually did probably the best job stuffing them. I know that so many were shot on him, but in terms of how many he stuffed for how many he were shot, other than Aldo, who's got godlike takedown defense and is huge for the division and bigger than Petr Yan.
MMA guru predicted a very close fight, expecting Merab Dvalishvili. He anticipated Yan having some strong moments, particularly with body shots, but didn't see him finishing the fight. Both fighters were expected to remain standing by the end, resembling Merab's fight with Umar, though with slightly clearer striking opportunities for Yan in certain rounds. Merab was still expected to display sharp, controlled moments throughout.
I think this is going to be a very close decision, where Yan has moments late. I think there's going to be moments here for Yan, but I think it's going to be a 48-47 Merab domination. You know, the ones where he dominates someone 3-2 on the scorecards. But I think Yan's going to hurt him to the body at one point. I think Yan's not going to get finished. I think he's going to take this all the way. It's going to be very, very close. Both guys are going to have their hands up at the end. It's going to be a bit like an Umar fight, except not the same in the grappling, a little bit more clear for Yan on the feet in some moments and some rounds. Maybe he wobbles. Yeah, Merab, I think you'll have moments here. I think you'll look sharp and switched on.
Meanwhile, Ayman Zabi found the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan rematch intriguing. He noted Yan hadn't used his right hand much in their first fight, making the bout potentially very different. Zabi expected Merab to face a tougher takedown challenge, but still believed he was in excellent form and a tough opponent for anyone.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting when Petr Yan mentioned that if you look back at the fight, he didn't use his right hand, and I hadn't noticed until he mentioned it. So we might see a completely different fight. We may, who knows? But I really love that matchup. I think it's going to be an action-packed fight. I think it's going to be hard for Merab to cycle through the takedowns the way he did with Corey Sandhagen against Petr Yan, and I'm only saying that based on the fact that Petr Yan is a little bit shorter. And it's going to be harder for him to get in those hips at the same, frequency as he did with someone who's much taller. So it's going to be it's easier to get in on taller guys. And I think with Petr Yan, it might be a little bit harder. And if he was right and his hand was compromised the first time, he might have a surprise for Merab. But, I really think Merab is he's been on fire, and he's going to be hard to beat for anybody. And I can't wait to watch that fight.
Anthony Hernandez's coach, Jim West, said it was hard to bet against Merab Dvalishvili, praising his ability to frustrate opponents like Petr Yan effortlessly. He acknowledged that Yan entered the rematch healthier, but believed Merab's intelligence and composure made him difficult to beat. West noted that Merab never got drawn into an opponent's game and predicted a competitive fight with Merab prevailing.
How do you bet against Merab? How do you go against that? I think Merab has the ability to not that he's trying, but he has the ability to make you look boring, right? In Petr Yan, and I think he can do that. I think Peter will be improved from the last fight simply because he's not going to be going into this fight injured and have all of those things. But I don't think Merab is going to. I think Merab's he's intelligent in the fact that he doesn't ever really get sucked into your game, regardless of how much shit you talk, regardless of what you say in the cage, outside of the cage. Like, Merab is going to stay Merab. And I just don't know. And I could just see it kind of being like the last fight he had against Sandhagen. It would be competitive, but I just don't see Peter beating him.
Michael Aswell leaned toward Merab Dvalishvili, praising their personal interactions and his time at Syndicate. He noted that Petr Yan was Josh's favorite fighter, making the matchup unpredictable. Aswell wanted to see a great fight, curious how Yan would adjust against Merab, who remained in excellent form.
Probably Merab, man. I like Merab. We've always had good chats, and he's always been good people to me. And even when I went to Syndicate and stuff, he was cool. But I will say that Petr Yan is Josh's favorite fighter, so I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I just want to see a really good fight. I know the first one was kind of not lackluster, but Merab was just kind of all over him. So I want to see, because, you know, in MMA, man, it's so crazy. Every time you fight, if you fight someone 10 times, the fight is going to look completely different every single time. Like, you know, so I think it's going to be interesting to see the adjustments Yan made and see if we can solve Merab, because Merab's on fire.
So that's all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about UFC.